Hello, welcome to the Net Zero Nuclear Green Zone Pavilion right here in beautiful Expo City, Dubai. The sun is setting over the desert. The solar trees are tilting as far as they can without breaking off and falling into the pathways. And night is falling, and we have one last beautiful conversation of the day. I could not be more proud to be joined here by a very close friend and probably one of the truest inspirations I've ever had in my life, Congressman Mark Cojuangco of Pangasinan District in Tarlac Province, yes?
Pangasinan Province in the Philippines.
Pangasinan Province in the Philippines. So, Mark Cojuangco has fought for nuclear power longer than almost every other nuclear activist I know, and some of the most famous, influential, and dare I say, successful nuclear activists in the world are in this pavilion in front of us. But I wanted to interview Mark and to make sure all of you heard at one time what real power and influence looks like in enacting a cleaner energy transition and raising people out of poverty. Mark, thank you for joining us. I think the format here is I'm going to ask you a series of questions that unlock the stories that I happen to know are inside of you. And I think if you just be as open as you can, it will be as educational as possible. So first I have to ask you, Mark, who are you in the Philippines? Like, you came into the airport in Dubai and the folks at the currency changing table, they knew you. Can you tell us about your family?
Yes, my father was an industrialist, agriculturist, industrialist, banker. So we were into all kinds of industries. In 1966, we set up a cement plant in the province of Pangasinan. And my breakfast companions, lunch companions, playmates were all engineers. And so by osmosis, I'm a high school graduate. I did not finish school. But because of the osmosis, I picked up a technical sense.
And so this concrete factory, so you were maybe 8, 9 years old. How
Yes.
much of the Philippines
So I used to
concrete was
spend my playtime in the machine shop of the fabrication shop of the cement plant.
that? So you grew up playing in the
Yeah.
machine shop of an industrial facility.
That's right. So I read a lot, and I became a congressman in 2001. 9 years. We are allowed 3 terms before term limits kick in. And in 2007, I was defending the budget of the DOF, Department of Finance in the Philippines. And they informed me that on August of that year, the debt of the Bataan nuclear power plant was fully paid. 2.12 billion US dollars, 699 million of which was out of pocket interest because we didn't run the plant.
Wait, so yeah, I was going to say I've seen a list of every operating plant in the world. Bataan nuclear plant is not on it, but you just said you paid off the debt,
Yes.
billions of dollars
Yes.
in 2007.
Yes.
So what is this Bataan nuclear
Okay,
plant?
so Bataan nuclear plant was built by the first Marcos president, who decided to go into that because of the 1973 oil crisis. If you remember the long lines at the gasoline stations, our electricity was oil-based at the time, and the only way that he saw out to bring cheap electricity to the Philippines was to go nuclear.
Who did he ask to build the plant?
The contractors was Westinghouse, and the subcontractors were big name, Burns and Rowe, Ebasco, companies that are still alive today and serving still the nuclear industry. And so they're the ones who did the geologic analysis, whether there was a fault line under the plant. There is no fault under the plant. That has been confirmed already. No? So,
Why didn't okay, you say the plant was safe.
so in
but why didn't it run?
1984, in May of 1984, the plant underwent its full hot functional testing.
So hot functional testing.
Yes, so meaning they used electricity from the grid. They ran the multi-megawatt pumps, reactor circulation pumps, and that heated the water enough to generate steam in the steam generators, to run the turbines, to generate power on and off, a few megawatts of power for a few months to test all the equipment.
They ran hot functional testing on and off for a few months.
That's right.
So what's the difference between that and a working power plant?
Well, only that you don't have nuclear fuel in the reactor. You only have the running RCPs.
So where was the nuclear fuel?
It was already on site. We had bought the nuclear fuel, and then in March of 1985, the IAEA sent the OSART-2 mission.
OSART?
OSART is Operational Safety Assessment Review Team, right? So they sent the team there to assess the personnel, the equipment, everything, all the systems, and it was certified as ready for core loading.
What about operators, though? Did you have any?
Complete. We had a whole set of, out of the entire thermal plant personnel in the entire Philippines, over 2,000 people, they screened all of that, and they put 100 to school in the United States, and they were certified operators.
So it's like an astronaut program, but
Yes.
for reactor operators.
Yes, so the cream
Filipino-
of the crop of the Philippine thermal power generating industry, that's where they selected all the operators to come from. You met these operators, those that are still alive. You met them in the Philippines when you visited the last time.
So
Yeah.
what happened to these operators? You say
They're
that the
still
plant
there,
never ran.
but they were frustrated because all their training yielded nothing. Those that went to abroad worked for nuclear plants, but the Philippines didn't benefit from all that effort.
Where did they train? If they were so ready, where did they train?
They trained through Westinghouse, through all the industry standard training done by an American contractor.
Okay, so you had a hot functional testing, meaning the nuclear plant was running almost everything except for the fuel inside.
Yes.
The IAEA certified not just the plant, but your entire nation is ready for being a nuclear
Yes.
power.
Yes.
The nuclear fuel was on site.
Yes.
You had 2,000 potential reactor operator applicants down selected to 100.
less than 1,000. Yeah,
Down
about
to
100.
100.
Yes, yes.
Of which 13 was selected, the Baton 13.
Well,
And then-
they were the cream of the crop. The managers, the supervisors, those were the 13 you met. But there were many more that were not on the top level.
Okay.
Yeah. So ready to
So-
run. And then there was politics. At that time, a lot of anti-Marcos sentiment. The U.S. ambassador, I'm sorry for Americans here, did not favor Marcos anymore. They wanted Cory Aquino. And so they tried to delay the operation of the plant.
And Cory Aquino
Yeah.
is any relation to you?
Yes, she's my auntie. She became the president of the Philippines
But
also.
what relation did you have to Marcos?
But
at
we
the time?
were more allied with Marcos. So the family was split politics-wise in the Philippines.
Did that affect your life at all in 1986?
Yes, I was exiled for 5 years until the presidential election of 1992 when my father ran for president.
Okay,
And
so
lost.
your father ran for president and lost after 5 years.
Yes.
You left a completely nuclear-ready nation with fuel, with hot functional testing, the Baton Elite 13 operators ready to roll.
Yes.
So the new president came in, your auntie. New
Yeah.
president comes in with a
Well,
fully
I-
built
let me-
nuclear
let-
plant
let
with
me-
3 billion debt. Why did this?
Yes, so 2.12 billion. So let me go backtrack a little bit. So during the run-up to the February, the event of February 1986, where we had the People Power Revolution, Ambassador, I'll not mention his name, American ambassador, started trying to delay the operation of the plant, saying that the road's not complete, the hospital, which is not in their scope of what they're supposed to worry about. No? And so they succeeded. February came, the plant did not run. The rest is history.
What happened after
Just
that?
a moment. So there's a chapter in a book, the memoirs of Jeronimo Velasco, who is the energy minister at the time, and he was fighting with President Marcos to load the fuel, to run the plant, because he wanted to show that it's a good plant. So why am I so pissed off about this? In 2009, when I went to Korea and visited the KEPCO KHMP boardroom, I see a picture of this ambassador inaugurating Korean nuclear power plants. The same type of nuclear power plants. So why did we let ourselves be affected that way by politics? So what happened? So we didn't run the nuclear plant, and instead we went to coal. Now we are 55% imported coal from Indonesia. We went into 20% gas, Malampaya, which was good because it's indigenous, but it's running out. And so it will soon be 20% imported LNG, 75% imported fossil fuels when we could have been 75% nuclear.
So I've heard the nuclear story so far.
Yeah.
I've heard your story so far.
Yes.
At what point did you first, as a young man or older man, when did you first think about nuclear, hear about nuclear?
I was first anti-nuclear, right? Then I went to the United States in exile. I used to drive to San Diego, and I saw San Onofre nuclear plant along Highway 5, Highway 405. And I said, there's nothing, there's no drama going on there. There's no smoke, there's no noise, there's nothing, it's just generating power. What is our problem? So I researched it, I looked into it, and I said, why aren't we running our nuclear plant? Especially that there was an impending crisis coming in 2013. No? In 2007, I knew that. It was fully paid for. So I filed a bill to operate Bataan nuclear plant.
In what year?
In 2007,
Was it really popular?
yes, we had 185 co-authors
Out of how many?
Out of 240 at the time membership. So majority. And then I ran out of time.
What do you mean?
I ran out of time, legislative time. I couldn't get it past second reading. So my wife succeeded me and filed a similar bill, and then Fukushima happened. And
So
so,
wait.
we declared a moratorium on our advocacy and the bill pending we getting reports on what actually failed at Fukushima, because we were ready to give up on nuclear. But then the reports started coming in. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got killed. The radiation still lower than the natural background in Seattle or Denver. And we said, this isn't a failure of nuclear. It's a triumph of nuclear containment. And so if this is the worst that can happen to nuclear, there's no need to abandon nuclear.
Have you ever
In
thought?
spite of a triple meltdown, the worst that could ever happen.
Have you ever thought you have bad luck? Because if I'm getting
Yes.
this timeline right, we have 1984. It should have started, didn't. Marcos leaves in 1986 in
1986,
February.
yes, yeah.
And then if any
85,
of you
yeah.
who know a little bit about nuclear, something relatively destructive happened in April 1986, 2 months after the switch.
Chernobyl. Yes.
And
So-
then you get all the way back. You come back out of exile. You're convinced about nuclear from San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station.
Yes.
The plant that convinced you
Yeah.
also got killed from politics.
Yes.
And then you come back, you run
So-
out of legislative time, your wife files the bill, and the triple meltdown of Fukushima Daiichi happened. Why didn't you give up?
I couldn't answer a lot of the questions by anti-nuclears to me proficiently in the beginning. But over the years, the questions don't change. It's from the 1970s, 1980s anti-nuclear playbook, which if you study enough, you will know the answers. And so I have become proficient at answering. If you remember, I visited Environmental Progress in 2016. I looked for Michael Schellenberger there because I was too tired to carry on. And I was challenged And he said to me, no, you have to still be the one. It's not going to be us. It's you or bust. So I was forced back. So it's a curse. In a way, it's a curse, no? Because I spent my own coin. I rented buses, brought students there, brought teachers there, brought whoever wanted to go there. I toured you the plant, and I'd explained to media, and I've carried on until 2022. And now I won as congressman, and I was elected the first chairman of the House, the first House Nuclear Energy Committee. So I'm the first chairman.
I remember you being...
Yeah.
I happen to remember you being quite pissed off that you had thought you were getting the Energy Committee, and instead they said no, and then
Yes.
they gave you the Nuclear Energy.
I said, well, give me some personality, make me a deputy speaker, so that when I talk about nuclear, I have some weight. And then the speaker said to me, no, we'll make a new committee for you. We'll make a Nuclear Energy Committee. So that's how that happened.
So what's happened since then?
So
2022, you're
there,
back in office.
There were 13 congressmen who filed a bill who wanted to create the regulator, an independent regulator. Was not happy, and they were not happy with the language of the bills. So we asked the speaker for help, and I asked that we hire Attorney Helen Cook of GNE in Sydney, and she drafted the bill, and all the 13 primary authors were so happy with the way it was written that they adopted it, and it became one bill. Now we have 213 co-authors.
How many people does the Philippines have in it?
We have about close to 120 million people now.
Could you tell me something about the role of Filipinos in the world?
We supply 50% of all the seamen in the world.
So of the commercial ships traveling the world's oceans.
One of my aspirations is that we supply 50% of all the nuclear operators in the world one day. You know? So these are the things, these are all aspirational. I have no basis, but stuff that I want to work for. Yeah.
Okay, so the bill establishing the regulators
Yeah.
going.
So it passed
But
on
there's
third
something
reading.
Else.
Yes.
If you really want Baton to start, it's probably best to have an American-built nuclear plant, have American technology if you can.
Yes.
And there's an agreement that has to be signed. Could you tell us
We
a little bit about
already signed
this?
the 123 agreement, our 123 agreement with the United States.
Which is what?
Which is the Article 123 of the 1954 American Atomic Energy Act, which requires vendors in America to only deal with countries which have signed this treaty. If not, they go to jail.
How did this treaty come apart this time? I didn't even hear about it until it came into law.
So in APEC, it was signed by, it was witnessed to be signed by our president.
So a few weeks ago.
Yes, just a few weeks ago. But the legwork for that was in the past year through Ambassador, whom I introduced you to, Ambassador Babe Romualdez in Washington, D.C. And you met him, right?
He said he thought nuclear was good because I was very tall.
Yeah.
But he didn't even meet Chris Kiefer and Eric Meyer yet. Then
And
he
then
would
he-
want triple nuclear.
And then he met John Kerry, who was also open
Tall.
to nuclear, right? And so he didn't know about the 123. I told him about it. We can't do nuclear without the 123 with America. We can do it with Japan, Korea, or whoever if we sign IGAs, intergovernmental agreements, saying that we're only going to use this for peaceful means. But with the U.S., you need the 123, and Congress has to approve that. The U.S. Congress has to approve that. So better start working on it now.
So, Congressman,
Yes.
what's next after this?
What's next after this is I've been working on social license since I've been elected.
Social license.
Yeah, social license means there's controversy about nuclear. People say it's dangerous. So I went to this town in my district, which has 10 villages. I spent about 10 hours in each village, open forum, questions. I said, if you sign something that says, you know this is controversial, People say it's dangerous, but you believe it's safe, and you believe it will benefit your town. You invite a nuclear entity or the national government to locate nuclear plants in your town, but you ask for something in exchange. You ask for the 2021 consumption of electricity times 2 for every 1,000 megawatts that will be located in your town for the entire 80-year life of the nuclear power plant.
But that's only a small amount, though. It doesn't really change the
it's
economics of it.
0.3% of the net energy output
Of
of
the
a
plant.
1,000 nuclear plant. So
De minimis.
if 4,000 megawatts locates, that's 8 times their 2021 consumption. Or if it's 6,000, it's 12 times. So they will have the cheapest electricity in the Philippines for a very long time.
So a tiny amount of the plant power for free for permission to get the entire plant powering the Philippines.
Exactly. Exactly. That's my model that I want to replicate in other provinces of the Philippines. And maybe that's a good model to use also for other parts of the world.
So can you tell me a little bit about the way your fellow congressmen and senators have treated you over the course of the last year?
Well, in the last year, their attitude towards us has changed, especially after the plenary debates. I've been standing on the floor of the plenary for about 40 hours already because there is a core group of rabid anti-nuclear people who challenge every single word I say. So I think Ben Hurd here knows that. Yeah.
Okay, so Congressman, who have you met that's been most interesting here at this COP?
There are many. They are young, they are energetic, they are passionate, they are changing the face of nuclear.
He met Al Gore.
Yes, I met Al Gore. He said he doesn't like gas, he doesn't like LNG, it's worse than coal because of the leaks, no? But he finds the declaration premature. He wants
triple nuclear. He says it's too early.
He says it's too early.
Al Gore, famous for saying we have lots of time to wait.
Yeah. So he said, I said, but they're planning to raise 9.2 trillion in financing, and he says, can I sell you a bridge? So
what a jerk.
But anyway, I have that on tape, no? So that's a. So those are the things that I learned. I was really inspired by the declaration. I'm the only Filipino who went. I tried to get my government to go. They attended to a lot of small other things that are meaningless to me, but I went, and I'm going to try to get the Philippines to sign the declaration, even if it's late.
Mark, you fought for 16 years. I personally saw the way you were treated only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for some of the young people here who are in some ways at the beginning of what may be a journey that's long like this before they have a working nuclear plant? What's your words for that?
It's not the emotion in the argument. It's the physics and the facts that will, at the end of the day, make you right. So I'm very confident because I study. I try to understand the numbers, even if I'm just a high school grad. And I think I have been convincing because the numbers are behind me. So I think that's the way to do it. Stick to the facts, stick to the evidence, let the physics decide.
And what final message do you have for the people of the Philippines? Not just those in the Philippines, but those 50% of sailors around the whole world, those that we see at almost every part of COP, who seem to recognize you and be very happy to see you. What's your message for the people of the Philippines?
If our GDP had increased by just 1% in the last 37 years, our economy would be 37% bigger today. How many trillion pesos of GDP is that? How many million jobs is that? How many families would not have been split and destroyed because the father had to go work abroad, the mother had to go work abroad, the uncle had to work abroad. And the next question would be, is it just 1%? So it's a huge opportunity loss that I think my message will be, you need to see this, what we lost for not having nuclear. And we should put an end to that. We should shake the tree, get your elected official, get your congressman, your senator, your mayor to fight for nuclear power, because it's the hope to bring jobs to the Philippines, to bring the economy, to revive the economy, to enable us to rise from poverty. It's time that we stop being the slaves of electricity. It's time to make electricity our slaves, to enhance our lives.
Thank you so much for joining me, not just up here on the stage, but as of only a few weeks ago, I'm not sure you were even planning to attend COP, and now you have Al Gore on tape, being himself in the truest sense. Thank you so much for sharing with everybody here. It's the end of a very long day, and guys, please.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark, for enabling my message.